from Stag is called Pranks from the Thin Blue Line, Volume 3. Pissed off LT's revenge for his squad and spicy spray on a steak.
Oh, no.
Another story, and this time it backfired on me. September of 2006, shift change. Platoons had shifted around from the previous pranks against Sparky. Sarge's wife platoon had been shifted to take our platoon's schedule. Next platoon took their schedule and followed our platoon. For a year, we'd been running our tasers without all of, going through certification. Tasers issued, in one instance, deployed on a guy beating the hell out of a guy in his bar for grabbing his wife's ass. Another story for another time. Back to this one. I'll start from the beginning. July 2006, the LT from our platoon, from the platoon after hours, thanks to the shift in things, how we tormented Sparky, is hosting department poker nights and grill nights at his house. He was a good dude, Hispanic who couldn't speak a lick of Spanish and therefore hated illegal Mexicans, of which he was ethnically Mexican. He was also a former Marine. Well, LT hosts the poker nights. We all attend. LT keeps winning. We all keep losing. We realize LT has stacked the deck. Payback, bitch. The armory houses all of our slightly used OC cans, talking boxes and boxes of used and partial full cans of OC. Each one logged in and logged out as we got a new can of spicy sauce. The good kind, the kind the Department of Corrections used. First defense, 3.5 million Scoville units.
Okay, hang on a minute.
That's more than the one-chip challenge.
I have been hit with, when I went through that bodyguard school in Florida, the Griffin Group.
Yeah.
5 million Schofield units in the face.
That is no fun.
That was a bad day
Damn.
for the popster.
Ugh. Law enforcement and military grade. Many of us had used our half-empty cans to spice up our own burgers and steaks, except for the Mexican LT. He couldn't stand spice. He had bland tastes. As luck would have it, I and another sergeant had been made the armorers, and I being a member of our part-time tactical team and he sticking to just patrol. Well, I was placed in charge of disposing of said spicy spray. Chief must have thought it a punishment for an evil genius like me. And he was wrong.
I'd do the same thing.
After losing hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars to the LT in question, an evil plan forms in my brain. Dispatch had spare keys for every unit in the department. Another prank that I pulled on my partner with his knowledge will also be sent to you in another installment. I looked at the box in my hand and then the key locker. Gears turn in my head. I exit dispatch and head through the basement to my unit with the first box of partially used spicy spray. I gather 2 more boxes marked for destruction, meaning I was supposed to take the cans to the old National Guard armory while wearing my gas mask, Tyvek suit, and gloves, puncture the cans, and toss them into a barrel. 1 box of these cans marked for destruction mysteriously found themselves in my apartment. I mean, who knows how they got there?
Things happen.
I mean, I know I marked them in the logbook that I got rid of them. I mean, also, LT's spare key, one of 3 in dispatch, found its way onto my keychain by magic.
Things happen.
Department Poker Night, August 2006.
All right.
He's setting the stage. It's like Unsolved Mysteries.
That was a long time ago.
I bring Jack some beer and steaks. All right, you're welcome over to our poker nights anytime. Just saying. You bring some Jack, some beer, and some steaks, winning.
Just don't poison us.
LT's at his grill. My LT is there along with Sarge's wife. Sarge distracts the Hispanic LT, claims he wants to check out his jet skis. My LT and Sarge's wife approach. You bring the stuff? My LT asks. Sarge's wife holds out her hand, retrieve my keys from my truck, and I hand them to her. She turns and shouts to her husband, "Just getting ready to the store. You need anything?" Sarge grins. "Yeah, babe, grab me some of that special seasoning that I like." He turns to the Hispanic LT. "You got to try this shit, man. It's the best stuff on earth. Really knocks your socks off." Hispanic LT grins. "Hey, give me 2 of those."
Here we go.
Redhead LT grins and leaves. My partner joins me and our LT at the grill. No one invited the chief or Captain Dickbag. We also excluded 1 detective sergeant, which worked out because he was working that night. My partner, myself, and our LT take positions at the grill. Hispanic LT's wife and kids join all of us. It's a good time. Red returns, grocery bags with things from the store, and cans of spicy spray concealed in the stuff from the store. Hispanic LT's got a good buzz going, so he doesn't notice he's being distracted. So we leap into action. He had chosen the biggest and juiciest steak for himself. We seasoned that bitch just for him. 12 cans of half-empty spicy spray were coating this steak.
That's a little overkill.
A little bit. It had soaked in another 12 for 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Red and Sarge were providing the special steaks for this poker game. As it cooked and took more coats of spicy spray, basically producing what would be considered CS or CN clouds in the backyard, Hispanic LT was oblivious, thank the gods. Night wears on, food is ready. A second grill not contaminated was used to make everyone else's food. We're all losing to Hispanic LT, as is the norm, and he's now drunk. He cuts into his steak, and we wait. He gives us a drunken and confused look. This shit smells like it's covered in OC. Red leaps into action to cover us.
It just smells that way, but this seasoning isn't spicy at all.
Uh-huh.
He sniffs it, his eyes water, and his nose turns red. You sure it's not spicy? Red and her husband shake their heads. It's fine. My LT takes a bite of his lightly coated burger. No, this shit ain't spicy. Practically that bitch food you eat. Lieutenant LT nods and takes a bite. We watch as he powers through it. He cuts another piece and dips it in a special A1 sauce that we bought him. Powers through it again. Beads of sweat form, followed by his face turning red, and then waterfalls of sweat. He spits out the bite, coughing and stumbling into the house. My partner and I leap into action. I race to Hispanic LT's car. He races to his personal Tahoe, and I take off down the street, cherries and berries flashing. I park the car, running, key in the ignition in an alley a few blocks away, lock the door, and leave. My partner picks me up, and we go back to the poker game that quickly ends. All night, and then the next morning, I sit by my portable listening to dispatch traffic. Finally, it pays off. They call for the Hispanic LT to give dispatch a PX. They wanted him to call dispatch. This was it. I call my partner, grab my truck keys, and race to pick my partner up. We hide my truck a few blocks away and make our way to the alley. We joined by our LT, Sarge, and Sarge's wife, Redhead LT. The four of us watch as the captain-in-chief asks Hispanic LT why his car is parked in this alley with the lights and engine running and how it happened. Cali Dickbag Officer is there too, along with the community service officer. Why he can't just give them an excuse. They ask if any of us were at his house or at poker game. He doesn't rat us out, but the fat fuck sergeant that was his does rat us out. Well, nothing came of it.
You fuck around and find out.
We're all questioned, but reassure the chief and captain that when we all left, the car was in his driveway. We even hint that he chewed out Sparky, and it was possibly Sparky was involved. With no proof, I wasn't dumb enough to walk in front of the car, so I'd be caught on cruiser cam, and since I wasn't wearing a mic and didn't speak the whole time, there was not a shred of evidence that I was involved.
Not a shred.
Hispanic LT catches all of us before court one day. Nicely played, fuckers, but remember, payback is a beach. If I were you assholes, I'd stay on my toes. The prank wars had begun again.
The prank wars. Listen, I love the prank wars. God. It breaks up the monotony. It really does.
I can't imagine what shitting that OC spray must have felt like.
No, it's like me in the Ghost Pepper Challenge.
Oh.
I got like two plus chicken wings into it, and I had to quit.
Ugh.
I had to call into work the next day because I was on the toilet. I literally was tempted to wipe my ass with ice cream. Burning so bad. It was unbelievably painful.
I bet. I can't even imagine.
Holy crap.
Ugh. So the beginning of September rolls around. I take my calm time and skip Taser cert day. Turns out to be my first mistake. I ignore the pages, cell phone calls, etc. I know they'll just move me to the next class if I miss this one. Plus, my time off was approved weeks in advance, and I was told that they would move me to the next class. Little did I know this was where LT was planning his revenge. I I ended up at one of the detectives' houses drinking beer. I knew the guy from my hometown where he had been a cop when I was in junior high and high school. I watch him shit and piss himself on video as the deputy training us tases him after telling the detective to charge him. Of course, I replay this over and over again as we drink. Detective's wife comes home and then laughs at her husband pissing and shitting himself before realizing that she would have to wash his shorts. She burned them in the fire pit in their backyard that night.
Nice.
End of September, I'm going on vacation for a week, and it's shift change. Finishing up my reports, I had to file my 10 or so citations I wrote that shift, along with an arrest affidavit. I passed by the Hispanic LT, citation book in my hands. I filed the papers in the file cabinet, dropped the citation in the basket, and passed by the Hispanic LT again. I hear the words come out of his mouth, but somehow they don't register. Nor does the fact that he's playing with his taser minus the cartridge. Last thing I hear before I feel that rubber band like snap to my thigh and every muscle in my body locking up while my bladder chooses this point to make it known that I hadn't taken a piss in the past hour.
Nice.
I wonder if you can dry stun a guy through clothing. Let's find out. I go straight to the floor. Citation book is thrown somewhere I can't see and don't care because pain is coursing through me. I can't move. I piss my pants. I can feel it, but I can't cut it off as I twitch on the ground for what feels like an eternity in hell. Anyone who's been dumb enough to piss on an electric fence or let their mom or dad shock them with a dog shock collar knows this feeling, and I've sadly done both, but times it by 10. Then it ends, and I'm rolled on my back. Laughter fills the squad room. I'm embarrassed for pissing myself, but I've laughed at dudes for it.
Yeah.
Karma's a bitch. Hispanic LT then proceeds to provide me with my lightning bolt for taser cert, except I was no longer wearing my vest, and he knew it. Guys in the military know what comes next if you've been pinned. He smashes that bastard into my already sore and tight muscle of my chest just above my name bar for added effect. I piss myself again. I can feel the blood from the brass needle puncturing my chest, now seeping into my white T-shirt under my uniform top. But I suck it up. I take LT's offered hand and take a clasp pin backer. Take the clasp pin backer, and then I look for my citation book. I walk around the squad room, and then I turn to the table. Where the fuck is it? I ask in frustration, and everyone plays dumb. A dispatcher enters and places a single sheet of paper in my mailbox. I take it out. It's a photocopy of the inside of my citation book, a knife held to it, and the words, "If you ever want to see this book alive again, get on the table and sing 'I'm a Little Teapot.'" I do it. And then I leave the squad room, sans citation book. I go on vacation. When I return, photocopies of the one I received are plastered around the squad room and dispatch. One taped over my computer monitor along with my citation book wrapped in Hello Kitty wrapping paper, pink ribbon, and pink bows. I earned it, and I knew I had been bested. But this was a prank war, and it was far from over.
Oh, yeah.
I would get my revenge. I would win. 1042.
I want to hear more of these. I love prank wars.
Ooh,
I don't know. When I was in 8th grade.
Pranking people who have tasers, man.
No, when I was in 8th grade, I was in a prank war with the other evil genius in my school.
Oh, yeah?
And I basically, on one occasion, I liquid nailed his locker shut.
That stuff works.
On another occasion, I had super glued the lock. Of course, you know, this guy was smarter than I was. And so I don't know how he did it. But, you know, I remember I rode my bike to school, locked it up, went inside. I come back out. Everything is the same. Nothing has changed. I unlock my bike. I wrap the chain around the handlebars. I take off. And about 80 minutes or 80 meters later, everything locks up.
Ooh.
And I go over the handlebars. I cut my head open a little bit on the ground. And I'm like, what the fuck? I get up, I look around, and there's evil genius guy. And I'm like, oh, you got me good on that one.
You motherfucker.
I don't know how he did it. I really don't know how he did it.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.